Hey guys, it's Taylor. I can't wait to see you guys in Australia and New Zealand when we get there on the Reputation Stadium tour in October and November. Until we get there, we've put together this TV special for you, just going through the years and the music and the songs, and I can't wait to see you actually in person.
I was born in Pennsylvania. I grew up on a Christmas tree farm. When I was 7 years old, my grandmother took me to this local children's theater company. I just thought, I want to do that. I want to tell stories on stage. That turned into me wanting to sing in karaoke contests and try out for different things and sing national anthems.
For the land of the free.
So that's when I got it in my mind that there was this magical place called Nashville where dreams come true, and Faith Hill got discovered, and I thought to myself, Nashville? Well, I've got to go there. And so I started this relentless campaign with my parents to get them to move. I had these demo CDs of me singing like Dolly Parton songs and Dixie Chicks songs, but we started taking trips. Like, my mom would drive me up and down Music Row, and I'd like get out, and I'd run up to the door, and I'd go in, and I'd talk to the receptionist, and I'd like look over the desk and say like, hi, I'm Taylor. I'm 11, I want a record deal. Here's my CD, if you could give me a call, that would be awesome. When I started writing songs, it became something that I needed every day. Just writing songs, playing guitar. Music was something that was so necessary for me to be happy on a daily basis. And when I first started playing guitar, I would play for hours and hours until my fingers were bleeding, and I didn't even notice. And my mom would just be like, you need to put the guitar down because dinner is on the table, and you can play afterward, but homework and dinner are priorities too. You know, I just fell in love with it. It fell hard. I knew that it wasn't going to be simple. It's not like that. It's not like you just play in front of one person and everything happens for you. I knew that if it was ever going to happen for me, I needed to work for every single stepping stone. So I just wanted to learn as much as I could. I had this showcase at the Bluebird Cafe, ironically the place where Faith Hill got discovered. And I played my guitar and sang a bunch of songs that I'd written just acoustically, and all of these record labels were in the audience. We'd invited all these labels. There was one guy in the audience named Scott Borchetta, and at that time he worked for Universal Records. So he came up to me after the show and he said, I want you on my record label, and I want you to write all your own music, and I'm gonna call you and explain my situation. And so I go home that night thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna get a record deal with Universal Records. That's amazing. And I get a call from him later that week and he goes, hey, so, good news is I want you on my record label. Bad news is that I don't actually have a record label yet. And so he proceeds to just explain to me that he has always dreamed about having his own record label, leaving Universal to create a record label. He doesn't have a building, he doesn't have a name for it, he doesn't have a staff, he doesn't have funding. He just has this dream that he wants to do it. So he says, will you just please wait for me? And for some reason, I was willing to wait for that, because I knew that if I could be a part of building something from the ground up, of being the first artist on a brand new record label, even if we didn't have furniture in our lobby, you know, or a sign outside of the building, that would be okay with me as long as I could do something really adventurous and bold and new. So I signed my record deal with Scott Borchetta, and I was making an album full of songs that I had written by myself. There was no inclination that this was gonna work out. But we really believed in it. Putting out my first single was just such a cool experience because I just didn't know what was gonna happen. I remember putting the physical CD singles into envelopes to mail out to radio with my mom. I got to go on radio tour. And you hear tour, you think tour bus? No, rental car, Taurus, me, in the back seat.
Hi, baby.
How's it going?
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Going from radio station to radio station to radio station, and every time I would go into a new radio station, I would play in the conference room for a couple of DJs, and I would like beg them to put me on the air, and it worked.
You think Tim McGraw, I hope you think my favorite song, Faded Blue Jeans.
My album sold 39,000 in the first week, and then over time it started to sell like this. Then something really crazy started to happen. I was opening up for every single country headliner imaginable. I was opening up for Brad Paisley, George Strait, Kenny Chesney, Tim McGraw, like all these people I'd always wanted to open up shows for. I was a nervous wreck. I'd rehearsed nonstop over and over again, but I loved it. Those were some of my favorite times. This is the first time I'm ever gonna open up for Tim McGraw and Faith Hill.
What?
This is the first night. I'm freaking out.
And so I just kept opening up for people, and every single night afterward I would sign autographs in the parking lot. And I was like 16, I had all this energy. I was like, what am I gonna do after a show? Sign autographs in the parking lot.
When the Fearless album came out, it sold 596,000 in the first week. And I was really happy about that. Considering the first record, I was like freaking out about selling 39,000 in the first week. Selling 596,000 in the first week was quite an improvement.
She wears short skirts, I wear t-shirts. She's cheer captain and I'm on the bleachers. Baby, just say yes.
I had been dreaming about doing my first headlining tour, I think since I was 4 years old, and singing random songs that I'd made up on top of a picnic table on my parents' vacations, embarrassing them. Yeah, I had always wanted to put together a show that incorporated theater and storytelling and the songwriting and what I saw in my head when I was writing these songs, and just imagery that had filled my mind when I was putting these songs together. I finally got a chance to do that in March of 2009 when I was putting together my first tour, the Fearless Tour. You guys, this tour has been the best experience of my entire life.
1, 2, 3.
The stage for the Fearless Tour was something that I spent a lot of time designing with Jonathan Smeaton, my stage designer. I wanted the stage to be part of the picture and part of the visual, not just something we were standing on. This comes out during Love Story, and it's going to be projected where these look like castles, right? And so we've been able to turn this whole thing into a story. Rehearsing for the Fearless Tour took about a month to have everybody whipped into shape and have everything like flowing into each other, and we created all this video content. We created costumes, we created all of these different little segues that were going to happen in between songs, and I wanted the show to just never stop going. I didn't want it to be like, you know, end of song, and then, you know, you have to wait like 3 minutes while I'm obviously backstage changing and there's like nothing going on stage. I wanted there to be something going on at all times so that you knew where to direct your focus. Like, it just needed to be very clearly mapped out what story was being told at what point in time. When I finished the first song every single night and just stood there at the end of the ramp, I could always hear and feel what that crowd was going to be that night. Because so many times I could like feel how loud the crowd was because they were that loud. It's just a roar, just this uncontrollable roar. And that moment is just so unforgettable, standing there every night just like, and like looking around. And I just remember thinking, like, this is the feeling that you dream of having. Like, standing in front of a crowd that looks like this and sounds like this, it just makes everything worthwhile. Makes every early morning worthwhile. It makes everything just make sense.
I don't know how it gets better than this. You take my hand and drag me head first. Fearless. It's fearless.
The Grammy goes to Taylor Swift. Nathan Chapman and Taylor Swift.
I had a lot of people who would say, oh, she's an 18-year-old girl, there's no way that she actually carried her weight in those writing sessions. And that was a really harsh criticism, I felt, because, you know, there was no way I could prove them wrong other than to write my entire next record solo. So I went in and I made an album called Speak Now. There is not one single co-writer on the entire thing. And it's an album that I'm really proud of.
Because the last time you saw me, you still burned in the back of your mind.
We just did a group picture on the new stage that we just saw for the very first time. I've been working on planning this, drawing it, getting it ready for 6 months, and to see it for the first time is just insane. I can't believe it. It's so beautiful. What I wanted the stage to do was just become a million different things and showcase a bunch of different dimensions of the songs, and it seems like it's the perfect place to do that.
Drop everything now. Meet me in the pouring rain. Kiss me on the sidewalk. Take away the pain. 'Cause I see sparks fly whenever you smile. Give me with those green eyes, baby, as the lights go down. Give me something that'll haunt me when you're not around. 'Cause I see sparks fly whenever you.
You guys, I never imagined that we would get to play our first show in Nashville, but it's the most amazing feeling to get to have all our friends and family here to share what we've been holed up in this arena doing for the last month.
Run my fingers through your hair and watch the lights go wild.
It was amazing to get to go to Singapore and Hong Kong and Korea. The fans in Asia are amazing. They're so passionate. The fact that the shows were all sold out, it really meant a lot to me.
People are definitely going to see this, right? It's not going to be lost on them, right? Okay. Okay, doing this for the fans. Doing this for the fans.
In Asia, there was this gag at the end of the show where I would fall back off the back of the stage, way up high, 10 feet down onto a mattress.
Oh, geez. Oh, God.
It was pretty nerve-wracking because it's kind of scary, and I'd always get, like, my arms would get kind of scratched up, and I'd be like...
We were both young when I first saw you. It's not even high.
At the end of the night, every single time I'm walking up the stairs, and I'm like, you're gonna have to fall back, you're gonna have to fall back, turn around, fall back, do it, just, you gotta do it. And I have to talk myself into it. But after the show, I'd be kind of proud of myself for doing it.
Today we're at Abbey Road Studios, and I'm freaking out. I'm pretty sure the band's about to be freaking out too.
We ended up having the opportunity to go to Abbey Road and record a live session. It was amazing to get to go and be there and experience it. Some of my band members were a little more having a religious experience than others, and it was just really cool to be there because you know so much iconic music has been made there.
Long live the walls we crashed through. The lights are just long live the look on your face and bring on all the pretenders. I'm not afraid.
The European fans were really passionate. It's just so great to look out into a crowd and see people really into the music. It was unbelievable. There was a stage that we had out in the crowd, and every night I would walk to and from that stage to do the acoustic set. It was always amazing to go through the crowd and really see people and meet people, and you'd be surprised how much you can establish a connection with someone just through eye contact. On the world tour, I was playing a ukulele every night on Fearless. It's fun to play it like that. I like to take songs that people have heard and kind of putting a little bit of a twist on it to where it's still the song that they've heard, but it's just a little bit of a different production. I really had the time of my life in Europe. It was just a wonderful experience.
For Best Country Song,
Taylor Swift for me. Thank you to anyone who voted for this song. That is so incredible of you for doing that. Wow. This is another Grammy. I want to thank Scott Borchetta at Big Machine Records for letting me create this album and believing in this song and putting it out at radio. When we put this out as a single, people were kind of, a few people said like, really, you're gonna do that? Wow, okay. And my label stood by it, and country radio played it a lot, which was wonderful. And I want to thank Robert Allen, everyone at 13 Management, and my mom and dad, and my brother who are here, and my band who's here, who dressed up in crazy 30s outfits for the video. This is unbelievable. I am so happy right now. Thank you to all the Grammy voters. Everyone who clapped when I won this, thank you so much. I'll see y'all later. Thank you.
The next record, Red, it started out, I was making country music, and I was getting the ideas exactly the same way I always did, and they were coming to me in the same ways. And then, a few months in, they started coming to me as pop melodies, and I could not fight it, and I just embraced it. I just wanted to see what it was like to work with Max Martin, because, you know, the idea of Max Martin, he's so enigmatic, he's so, like, mysterious. You're like, what does he look like? What does he talk like? What does he wear a cloak? Like, and I just wanted to know. I was like, you know, what is a Swedish pop mastermind? What does that look like? Does he know how to play guitar? Like, what is it? I called him, and he came over to my house, and I said, I love what you do. I want to combine it with what I do, and I'm a little scared, but I'm not really that scared because I think it could be great. I'm not gonna second guess this. This is just a gut feeling. I think it's gonna work. We went and we did 3 songs, 2 of which were I Knew You Were Trouble and We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. And that was as much as I was kind of allowed to work with Max on that project.
I knew you were trouble when you walked in.
I was also attached to being a country artist at that point. Just really, like, you build these relationships with radio and with the community, and it's sacred. We labeled Red a country album, and it came out, and it was universally agreed on that the songwriting was great, but it was also noted that it was a little bit multiple personality, which it was.
I think from the Red Tour, fans can expect the unexpected. I think I really like the element of surprise, and I love incorporating that into the shows. I like for these tours to be completely different from every single one we've done. I think that the visuals kind of portrayed on this tour will be, I guess, more grown up and a little bit more mature than things we've done in the past. And I think
On my previous albums and my previous tours, I've really liked to operate in the element of fantasy, and I think that this tour incorporates a little bit more reality into the visuals, which is nice.
Loving him is like driving a new Maserati down a dead-end street. This love is like driving a new Maserati down a dead-end street.
I got nominated for Album of the Year with Red. Going up to it, you know, everybody comes up to you and they're like, oh, you got this, you're gonna win, you're gonna win. And I wish they wouldn't do that because you don't know if you're gonna win. And someone else could very well win, and someone else very well did. We don't make music so we can like win a lot of awards, but you have to take your cues from somewhere if you're gonna continue to evolve. And so I went to bed and I woke up at 4 in the morning. I'm like, it's called 1989. I've been making 80s synth pop. I'm just gonna do that. I'm calling it a pop record. I'm starting tomorrow. I've been working on a new album for 2 years. With Red, I had learned that I really do like collaborating with different producers. But I think with 1989, I decided I was gonna narrow down the list. I went in with Max, I asked him to co-executive produce it with me, and we were gonna make a sonically cohesive record again. We were gonna approach it the way I approached Fearless. This album is called 1989.
Nice to meet you where you been. I could show you incredible things.
Taylor Swift.
I don't like your little games. Don't like your tilted stage. The role you made me play of the fool. No, I don't like you. But I got smarter, I got harder in the nick of time. Honey, I rose up from the dead, I do it all the time. I got a list of names and yours is in red underlined. I check it once, then I check it twice. Oh, look what you made me do.
When the album came out, it's legitimately an album about finding love throughout all the noise. And so it starts with the noise and how that all makes you feel, and how it makes you feel when people are saying things about you that you feel like aren't true, and living your life sort of in defiance of that, in defiance of your reputation. And then sort of in the middle of the album, you kind of realize, okay, so what, how much do I really value that? Like, if you can find something real in spite of a bad reputation, then isn't that what matters the most to you?
Big reputation, big reputation. Oh, you and me, we got big reputations. Isn't it, isn't it, isn't it, isn't it delicate?
And then there are these moments where it's very like, oh my God, what if my reputation actually makes the person that I like not want to get to know me? That's a reality that could happen. And so when I was thinking about that part of it, where like your reputation, you're like, how real is it? Well, it's only real if it stops you from getting to know someone where you feel like you could connect with them in a really real way.
'Cause I love. Is it cool? Is that water? You're so gorgeous. I can't say anything to your face. Look at your face. Are you ready for it?
I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I hope I get to see you at the actual show in October and November in Australia and New Zealand. So until then, bye guys.